In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with Trey Taylor. Coping. The first thing I want to know from both of you is what attracts you? What is attractive to you from a woman? Pat, I'll let you start first.
Yeah, I would say, well, thank you again for having me on the show, Trey, and good to meet you, Deon. For me, I think it's respect is top of the list for most guys, that he feels and is embraced for who he is, but respect is very important. And I'm 48, so I'm going back to when I met my wife when I was 16. That was still important to me. I think the other thing that is really important is, somebody who's willing to support you. And that's not only in the good times, it's in the bad times. I lost my father some years ago. My wife was right there. I've gone to counseling. Without judgment, my wife has supported me in all of these spaces. So I could go on and on and on, but I would say respect, definitely someone that embraces you for who you are, and then support. That support is not just when it's high, but also when the tide is low.
Yeah. Deon, how old are you? Are you in your 40s or 30s?
By the blessings of God, last year, October the 8th, I was allowed to turn 40. And so I'm in the 40 club now. I'm glad to be here. It's a beautiful place.
Welcome in.
It is a beautiful place.
Welcome in.
Thank you for having me.
So Deon, Patrick talked about respect. What does respect mean to you? What does that mean?
Respect is, you hold me to the same regard that you would have me to hold you to. I think that when they talk about relationships and things of that nature, it's always important to not put everything in a box when it comes to that, because given the type of relationship that it is, that understanding may be different. If I'm making any sense. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't? Okay, yeah. So whatever, because I think oftentimes a lot of people, when you talk about relationships, and I'm glad that you're on here, people automatically assume that it's supposed to be a certain way, whatever picture type they need or deem it to be. But the truth of the matter is, I think the two parties come together and they establish what that means to that relationship specifically, not looking at any other object or what somebody else does, but whatever that relationship needs in order to thrive.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's interesting that you say that. So you're saying, in essence, it may not look like someone else's relationship, that everyone's relationship is different, traditional, non-traditional, or not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Patrick, what is a turnoff to you? And again, it's you are married and have been married, for 20 some odd years. So and you married your high school sweetheart. So
yeah. Hey, you a real life story. Everybody, I listen. I'm serious. I know two other people in my whole life that have this story, and so you're a walking anomaly, brother. We appreciate these stories. Share with us.
He is. He's a Black History Month.
Right.
It's funny, man, because I didn't know I was going to marry her when I was in high school. I was 16.
Yeah.
I was thinking like a 16-year-old. But at that point in my life, I played sports. I was athletic. I was raised around a bunch of. I was in the neighborhood. I was grouped in Saxon homes, and it was fairly easy to get what 16-year-old boys wanted at that time. And I will never forget when she and I really got serious. It's the first time she said to me, "If you want to date me, you're going to have to go to college." And I wasn't planning to go to college.
Wow.
She was 17. So it was the rejection almost that kind of like, oh, you're not feeling me like that. So it shifted everything, the way I thought, where I sat in the lunchroom, the way I spoke to her, because the way I spoke to girls at that time wasn't the most appropriate way, but she had a standard. And for me, it was like, so that was appealing to me, years and years later, as we got closer and closer to each other. I went to college, she was in college. There were still things I really wanted to be intimate with her at that time. I'm being very transparent.
Yeah.
She was not interested in that at all. And so her father, God bless him, was one of the ones that said to me straight up, this is my only daughter.
Mm.
And if you're going to date her, you're going to have to do these things. And one of them was respecting her. And so that was, new for me, because like I said, where I grew up, it wasn't that wasn't a conversation.
Right,
so
right.
She's captured me in that way. And that's been the longevity of our relationship. But to your question about what's a turnoff, I think it's the opposite of that respect conversation. I think it's when a guy is being blasted for not being what she might deem him as, supposed to be. He's broke, or I've seen social media posts where people go on and on about a guy not having X, Y, and Z. And those are, to me, like dead ends for a relationship, because those things, I know there used to be a saying, sticks and stones, something.
Yeah, may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Yeah.
Break your bones.
The men that
not in 2023.
The men that I worked with over the last 20 plus years, none of them have physical scars that I'm worried about. They have verbal scars that make them depressed, have anxiety, suicidal, eating disorders. They're lonely. They're married but lonely because of something that somebody said to them a long time ago. So those are turnoffs when someone is using those things as weapons against a man. That's just, can't do it. Yeah. I have daughters, and if there's nothing else that I've said to them over the years is have standards. And I'm a living example. The way that my then girlfriend, now wife, spoke to me, it was with the standard. I mean, and if you want it, you want Beyonce tickets, you're going to pay that price, right? You're going to find the money. I actually wanted her, was honestly afraid to speak to her because she was so mature. Like, she wore business suits in high school.
Wow.
So
was she Koji?
She wasn't. She's not Koji. But close enough, brother. She had the briefcase that you pop the buttons and they pop in. This is in high school.
She was about her business even then.
Right.
And I always give credit to her parents, her mom and her dad, because they both nobody went to college, but they had a standard for their children. All three of their children are married, all have college degrees out the yin yang, but they saw something in their children and they gave them that foundation. So even now in our marriage, there are bases to it that started when she first spoke to me about who I can be. So I trust
her. Are
her.
you saying that you don't like makeup, you don't like extensions, wigs, weaves, or lashes, or are you saying there's a certain amount?
It's just I agree with Patrick. I'm an 80s baby. I just turned 40. I'm an 80s baby. We was growing up. They had these little the lip gloss, and that's all it was. And to us, they was the finest thing in the world. We didn't know nothing about no makeup, no lashes. No, we don't know nothing about them little swoop things they put right here. None of that. It was just, hey, some good Jergens, motion, and a lollipop, and you was beautiful to us. Like it doesn't change. So I understand though, for women, the desire to look a certain way and present yourself, and we appreciate it as men. But I just don't, like I said, I just don't want it on my clothes all the time. That's all.
What does the marrying kind mean? And then I'll ask you, Pat, what you're telling your girls they should be to be the marrying kind.
Yeah, that's good.
The marrying kind.
Yeah. What would a man look at in a woman to be marryable? I don't even know if that's a word.
I think that would be different depending on the man. Because especially at my age, and then like in general, you got a vision for your life and what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. That marrying kind ain't gonna be the kind that it was when you was 20 or 30. Like, I'm in another season of my life, so I'm looking for this placement, this piece of the puzzle to bring it all together. So my marrying kind is going to look different than the next man. But I would say, to answer that, she would be able to, like we said earlier, speak to the king in me. She would be able to certain things, because I'm good with the big picture. Oh, I got a great job with the vision. I can do that. But the intricate details, I feel like the woman that's for me, along with the the superficial stuff, she will fit right into that. It's gonna be that straight, and it's not gonna be I got to fake shape and groom and all this other stuff. It's going to be that, because at this point we 40. People ain't changing. So
yeah. So Pat, what are you telling your girls? what do they have to be the marrying kind?
I it sounds cliche, but my wife is a great example. And if it's nothing else that I try to set them up for, is to have standards.
Yeah.
They have the key. Girls, women, they don't realize the power that they have.
Right.
What happens. And I'm a living witness. I was not going to college, but I wanted her. So I ended up enrolling in college.
Pat,
I met my wife. Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but you ain't even got to explain yourself. Every woman watching this right now know this. It's a guy, when she was a teenager, you know how kids, girls, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. They go through that little bout where they like the bad boy, the dope boy. And then it's men right now, 40 years old, still trying to be a drug dealer because a little 16-year-old girl that don't even like that no more says she wanted it better. Women know how powerful they are.
No, women don't. No, all women don't. Women don't. They don't. Women don't. We don't.
No, I know Deon cutting up, but I don't think they do.
We don't.
And I see it in friends. I see it in my family, and they settle for that profile that you talking about, Deon. And when the guy they just broke up with, who was working on his broker's license,
was a great guy. Yeah,
he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He didn't cuss and fuss. He didn't put his hands on you, but he didn't do that. He didn't make you feel risky enough.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I say for women, to my daughters, to your question, I say you have to know that you set the standard, and you got to know what is good for you. So my kids are 17 to 15. I talk about having intuition, following your guts. And if the first time you feel like that was scary, I ain't like that. I said, that's clear for you to step on off. You don't have to try to rehabilitate, correct behavior. The second thing I say to them all the time is respect for men and respect is not, bowing down. It's treating him like you want to be treated.
You want to be treated. To wrap up the conversation, Deon and Pat, can you share anything about what men want in general? Pat, I'll let you start, and I'll let the single man end the conversation.
I will say thank you, Trey, and it's great to connect with you, Deon, man. I'm really proud of you, follow you, love what you're doing. I say for the men, be honest with yourself.
With yourself.
Like I read somewhere, it says you can't heal what you don't reveal.
Right.
And for a lot of brothers, there are, and I'm not making this up, the majority of the guys I work with all over the country, successful NBA, NFL, these guys are broken because of things in the past. And I would just suggest to brothers, I can't speak to the ladies in this case, but to brothers, man, find a way to address that thing, whatever it is. A lot of us are holding our parents hostage for things that they didn't do. When most of our parents have done the very best that they could.
At the time.
Yeah. I'm going to close with this quote, and I'm going to read something that is very quick, but it says, some of us need to forgive our parents. Most of them have a childhood that they need to heal from as well. And it is, in my case, it's real. There are things that my parents, in my mind, at the time, they didn't do what I thought. But both of them did the very best that they could. And I'm grateful now in healing, I'm grateful because I understand that. But at that time, you start carrying bags on your backpack that weigh you down. But truthfully, healing and forgiveness are those two things I would offer to anybody who's listening today.
Yeah, Danielle said, good for you. There's a stigma around therapy counseling. You're right, Danielle. But I think one of the things we learned around COVID is that we have got to be more conscientious about healing ourselves. I mean, if you're not going to do it for yourself, then for who? So that you can move forward. Deon, your final thoughts?
Final thoughts about what men want. I don't really have an answer. I don't like answering questions like these. And the reason why I don't is because I feel like everything is going to be different depending on the man that is being asked the question. And so with that, my biggest thing is and has always been women in general, people in general, love and work on you. And I just feel like I could be wrong. Y'all asked me that I want to be in a relationship or married or whatever. Yeah, but I feel like as you grow and go, what's supposed to be a line and in your life will be, you'll find it while you're working. like while you're moving and working on yourself and healing and progressing, whatever and whoever you're supposed to be attached to, God will align y'all's paths where that thing happened when it's supposed to. I'm not coercing nothing. I'm now this is my story. I am for it. I ain't forcing nothing. If
Yeah.
it if he listen, if he don't say D, this it, do this, it will not be nothing happening.
Not happening.
And I think that's when we run into doomsday, because we're trying to make something that is not. And I
Yeah.
think women do that a lot of times. That you see a little glimpse of potential, but there's no reciprocity in it. I'd argue, Pat, if I could say that, there was something you were giving her, even though you were missing the mark occasionally. There was
Oh, yeah.
something that you were meeting on it. You see what I'm saying? And in some instances, for some females, they get this one thing and they run to the moon with it. And it's like everything else is so many other cons, but you just loving this one pro, and you making a lifelong decision hoping that it's just gonna magically turn. It's like, no, if it's not working, done. It goes away. Look, we can be cool, but that's not a situation for me. I'm not about to invest my emotions, my time into this
Yeah.
situation. And so just being absolute about what you want and what you need. And that's
Sometimes
gonna
with
happen.
women, two things challenge. And not see the challenge mother gene that makes us want to fix and take care of and solve the problems, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what it is with women oftentimes.
And there's
I want to
nothing
go
that
to a
has.
couple of comments. Go ahead.
Okay,
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry,
Pat.
Trey. There's nothing in this society that has taught people how to treat men who need help.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Hey, the mic
We
drop.
got to embrace it though, Pat. You know, we got it.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to embrace it. I mean, like Deon said, there's something in our minds that say this is not right, or this is right, or this is what you should do. But you have to be connected with your spirit, your mind, to even hear that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
Most of us want to feel safe with our most vulnerable spots. I've had some moments where I've cried to like days on end, and my wife has never made me feel less than a man. She's found a way to support me, and it goes both ways. But as a man, I still feel respected in my moments of vulnerability, as opposed to somebody who takes it and they,
use it.
Use it. They put a knife in it. Once he has been cracked open like that, and you take it and use it, you can forget ever having him share how he really feels.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I tell you, I think this whole conversation just really comes back to, again, healing ourselves, getting therapy, because I mean, something that we hear a lot. I love Joyce Meyer says, hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
So if the woman's hurt, she may not want to hurt him, but she is lashing out. So she's hurting him and then, hurting herself. If the man is hurt, he's hurting the woman. And then she in turn will hurt him. So it's a back and forth tennis match of hurt people hurting people who they don't really want to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Trey, this is the thing I've learned, and this has helped me a lot in many of situations in the last 3 to 4 years. And because oftentimes, if you follow me on social media and I post certain things, I'll say sometimes about people. It's not that I'm bothered, because I understand people talk all the time. It's just redundant conversation. However, I am always intrigued as to why. You understand? And what I've learned is, if you always look at things from the why perspective, it's rare that you run to a fence. And when you do that, now you can gain understanding, because then you begin to inquire about why is the thinking or the mindset the way it is, and you dig deeper. And I will say this, I do, because I know this from dating certain people. People don't even have beyond depth conversations, which is crazy now in this time, because we're older now. Children, businesses, all types of stuff, legacies are at stake. So it seems like those hard conversations need to happen. And with my case, because I date older women usually, it happens all the time. What's my health conditions? Because I'm a veteran and I'm 40. How you already retired? Do you got high blood pressure, the gout? Do you got PTSD? Is it bad for colored girls? You know what I'm saying? Like all those questions, but those are necessary because you need to
They
know what
are
you're getting
necessary.
involved with. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But yeah.
No, you're right. We have to have those hard conversations. Are you HIV positive? All of those questions that we need to have. And it seems like we're uncomfortable having those conversations with people who we want to be in relationship with. And who else to have that conversation with, if not someone that you want to be in a relationship with? But if you're not comfortable with yourself, you can't have a conversation like that with anybody else.
Yep. Are you poly?
People,
that's a new thing. I've heard people who are no judgment.
Yeah.
But that's a factor.
You said poly?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the two. Yeah.
Do you want to be in a monogamous relationship? Yeah. So many questions we need to have. Samantha says, I just want to get some comments in here. Samantha said that's what her mom said. She did the
You do this with yours.
Says thank you for all the different types of truly and important. Nadia Seeger, I wanted to get her comment in here. She says, as the leader of a women's ministry, she says she really appreciates the dialogue. Yeah, we as women have got to listen to men. And, whether it's something, sisters, that we want to hear or that's uncomfortable, we still need to hear it. We still need to hear it.
Can we talk about this?
Listen.
Can you listen to receive, not listen to respond?
Yes.
Y'all. Yes. They ask me every year to be on women's empowerment. I get asked. I don't even know why. I understand if Patrick was on, but me, I don't. I know what to say, but I don't have a.
That's because you're a candidate. You're a bachelor. Come on, man.
An eligible bachelor. He's an eligible bachelor, I guess. I don't know.
But listen, though, this is the thing. Every time I'm in these situations, I'm always met with a rebuttal immediately. So do you really want to know what I'm thinking and what I want? Or do you already want to tell me what you want me to think and want? Because that's what the other issue comes in at. If you're really trying to learn me and learn how I think and the way I am and how I process things, you can't impede your thoughts into my mind about who I am and what. You understand what I'm saying? So that's important to make sure listen to receive versus to have a rebuttal.
It's two differences. Speaking from your heart is one thing. Speaking from your hurt is another thing.
Wow.
A lot of people speak from their hurt.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Patrick Patterson has been talking to us. He's with Global Partners for Fathers and Families. You can see his information on the screen. He's an author, a speaker, a grant writer. If you want more information, Deon Generette's information is also on the screen. He is the curator of 7 Sunday, and he is doing some great things in the city with entertainment. His information is also on the screen. So please check him out if you want more information. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for being open and honest.
Hello, I'm Carolyn Sawyer, an entrepreneur and caregiver. Part of taking care of your health is knowing if you're at risk of type 2 diabetes. Prediabetes is serious and puts you at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. Up to 90% of South Carolinians who have it don't know they have it. Visit inittogethersc.org. Take an online test to find out your risk and join a diabetes prevention program. This message brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of SC.
Hey there, thank you so much for joining us on Coping. I'm Trey Taylor. We're giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life because we will always be coping with something. Hey, before I leave, I want to share this devotional with you. This is from Conversations with God. It's from Cheryl Mims Williams with Agape Counseling and Training Services in Columbia, South Carolina. This is such a great book. It includes some of her prayers, some of her diary readings, and devotionals. This one says, "Trust me, my child. I know you're having a hard time praying, studying, and focusing on me. I know you don't like the way this feels. You can't rely on your feelings." That's good. This is about knowing, being faithful, and holding on. Knowing, even if you don't feel or see it. Isn't that such a wonderful reminder that God is with us always, even if we don't feel it, see it, or hear it? We've got to know it. That's what faith is all about. It's from Cheryl Mims Williams from Agape Counseling and Training Services. This is called Conversations with God. I'm Trey Taylor. Thank you so much for joining us on Coping. We're giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life, because we will always be coping with something. The good thing about it is that we're never alone. Thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping, finding out what's real. Coping, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress, coping with strife, bringing hope for success, for improving our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive, ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting learning what you can do, 6 ways to a better you.